Today, I'm taking you to the heart of Europe, to a state that ruled for almost 1,000 years, the Holy Roman Empire. But here's the twist. This empire was not Roman, and it wasn't exactly holy. It was a chaotic alliance born from the ruins of a collapsing Europe. Our story begins in the year 800. Europe was drowning in darkness, Viking raids, endless wars, and scattered kingdoms. And in the middle of this chaos, one man rose above everyone else. Charlemagne, the king of the Franks, a military genius and a ruler with a dream, to unite Western Europe under one crown and restore the lost glory of ancient Rome. On December 25th, 800, something unexpected happened. During a grand ceremony in Rome, the Pope suddenly placed a crown on Charlemagne's head and proclaimed him Emperor of the Romans. That moment changed the course of European history. It lit the first spark of what would later become the Holy Roman Empire. But the empire that emerged after Charlemagne's death was nothing like the unified kingdom he imagined. His sons fought, the lands were divided, and power slipped through the cracks. Then, in the 10th century, a new dynasty rose in the German lands, the Ottonians. Otto I, a formidable king, defeated invading Magyars and restored stability to Central Europe. In 962, he was crowned emperor, officially marking the birth of the Holy Roman Empire as we know it. Yet this empire was strange. It wasn't a single nation. It was a patchwork of hundreds of duchies, kingdoms, bishoprics, and free cities. Each had its own laws, its own army, even its own ambitions. The emperor ruled them all in theory, but in reality, he had to negotiate with powerful nobles just to pass a decree. For centuries, German emperors fought popes, nobles, and rival kings, trying to turn the empire into a true, unified state. But the harder they tried, the more fragmented it became. By the 12th century, the empire had become a battlefield of ambition. Emperors like Frederick Barbarossa tried to restore absolute power. He marched into Italy, clashed with powerful city-states like Milan, and even challenged the authority of the Pope himself. Barbarossa believed the emperor ruled by divine right, but the Italian cities believed in freedom. Their conflict would shape the identity of the empire for centuries. Despite grand campaigns, no emperor ever achieved full control. The empire remained a loose federation, where loyalty shifted constantly. Then came one of the most unusual political systems in history, the Golden Bull of 1356. This law declared that the emperor would be chosen by 7 prince-electors. Not inherited, not automatic, elected, like a medieval political competition. These electors became kingmakers, and emperors had to win their favor, often by offering land, privileges, or money. The Holy Roman Empire was now more a negotiation table than a monarchy. As centuries passed, the empire transformed again, this time through faith. In 1517, a German monk named Martin Luther nailed his 95 Theses to a church door in Wittenberg. His message challenged the Catholic Church and ignited the Protestant Reformation. Suddenly, the Holy Roman Empire was split not just by politics, but by religion. Princes chose sides. Some embraced Protestantism for faith, others for power. The Emperor Charles V tried desperately to stop the division, but the empire was simply too vast and too fragmented. By the early 1600s, tensions exploded into one of the most destructive conflicts in European history, the 30 Years' War. Cities burned, populations vanished, and entire regions were wiped out. What began as a religious conflict turned into a struggle for dominance among Europe's major powers. When the war finally ended in 1648, the Peace of Westphalia reshaped the empire forever, granting German states unprecedented independence. The emperor's authority grew weaker than ever. After the Peace of Westphalia, the Holy Roman Empire became a political mosaic. Hundreds of small states existing side by side, each acting almost like its own country. Some were powerful kingdoms, others tiny villages ruled by a single noble family. Yet culture flourished. German lands produced extraordinary thinkers, musicians, and scientists, from Bach and Goethe to Leibniz and Kepler. But politically, another force was rising: Prussia. Led by ambitious kings like Frederick the Great, Prussia built a disciplined, modern army and began challenging Austria, the traditional leader of the empire. Their rivalry turned the empire into a stage for power struggles. By the late 1700s, Europe was changing fast. Revolutions shook old monarchies, new ideas spread, and the empire, already fragile, struggled to keep up. Then, in the early 1800s, a figure appeared who would strike the final blow: Napoleon Bonaparte. His armies swept across Europe, defeating one German state after another. Napoleon didn't just conquer territory. He redesigned the entire political map of Central Europe. In 1806, after humiliating defeats and mounting pressure, Emperor Francis II made a historic decision. He dissolved the Holy Roman Empire. A 1,000-year-old institution vanished in a single declaration. German lands were reorganized into the Confederation of the Rhine under Napoleon's influence. For the first time in centuries, the complex web of duchies and bishoprics began to shrink into larger, more manageable states. But the empire's legacy didn't disappear. Its ideas of federalism, local autonomy, and shared identity survived. And after Napoleon's fall, a new question emerged. If the Holy Roman Empire was gone, what would replace it? This question set the stage for a new chapter in German history, a chapter that would eventually lead to the formation of modern Germany, shaped by Prussia, conflict, and unification.